You're here today at my invitation, the letter I sent you recently. And because you are here, I am going to do my very best to offer you as much information as I possibly can, help you make a better informed decision as to what you'd like to do about this situation that you're finding yourself in. One thing you should understand, I started doing short sales before the banks did, and literally. And I've ran across well over 100 people that I've had the opportunity to meet, talk with regarding this problem. Each of them were in your same situation. They had a lot of the same questions, so I thought it might be a good idea if I offered this service to you. You could tune into the video. You're going to get pretty much the answers to a lot of questions that you would have. And believe me, there is an awful lot of misinformation out there about this foreclosure process, what it does to you, your future, etc., etc. So I'll get right into that and see if I can do something to help you with that. My name is Robbie Robertson. Our company name, I'm one of the owners of Pioneer Properties. We're located in the heart of West Melbourne, right at the corner of 192 and Wickham Road. You may be familiar with the Walgreens sitting on the corner here. We're right in that shopping center behind them. You've got a lot of questions. They're probably going to be involved things such as an attorney. Do you need an attorney? How much does it cost? What do they do for you? Is it necessary to have an attorney represent you? You may have heard quite a bit about the possibility of income tax. I'll clear that up for you because it's a real problem. The bank and some other options that you have would be like a deed in lieu. I'll explain what that is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. A short sale, and just allowing the house to go to foreclosure. You probably have questions about your credit future and etc., etc. I can answer a lot of that for you. I have to date, as I mentioned earlier, talked to quite a few people, and I've personally done over 100 short sales, all of them for people right here in our community, from all walks of life. Doesn't matter how much money you make. I've done attorneys. I've done 3 attorneys. I've actually done short sales for 3 bank negotiators. These are the people at the bank that we're presenting with the short sale possibilities. Every other walk of life for every reason you can imagine, from divorce to loss of job to change of job, moving out of state, etc. It really doesn't matter what your hardship is. If you want to do a short sale and you have any type of legitimate hardship, then perhaps we should talk if you decide that a short sale is what you want to do. Like I mentioned, you do have some other options, and I'm going to give those to you and kind of go into them with you a little bit. First thing you need to be aware of is, of course, you've been served a summons, and you have 20 days to file an answer as to why you should not have to appear. If you fail to do that, then the bank is going to be awarded a judgment through the court, and with that judgment they can initiate the foreclosure proceedings. June the 1st of this year, there was a new law went into effect that speeds up foreclosures. In other words, the banks don't have to go through quite as much red tape and rigmarole as they used to, and it certainly doesn't take them 2 years to get from point A to point B. In fact, foreclosures today can take as little as 6 months. Exactly how long it will take yours is a question I can't answer. It depends on what attorney filed it, how quickly they want to react, and of course what you do about it. You do, like I said, have some options. You can file an answer to that asking for time. Normally that's what an attorney will do to begin with. They call it time to form an affirmative defense, kind of legalese, but that's basically all they do on their initial motion, and the courts generally, in fact, I've never seen them not allow that. So I think you could do that yourself. I'm really not sure. I certainly would not recommend you doing it yourself, but if money's a big issue and you want some time to kind of decide what to do, you can go on the clerk of court's website, look at some of the objections that have been filed in court cases, maybe give that a try. I don't know if that'll work or not work. If you don't know how to do that, you want to come by the office here, I would show you some of those. I cannot help you with filing legal matters. I'm certainly not an attorney. But I don't know of any reason you can't do that. I could be wrong. My daughter's an attorney. I could find out for you if that's a question. All of these questions, like I said, you may think you have heard the answer to. I've been quite surprised by what some people come in my office with what they've been told and what reality actually is. So you got a good reason that you might want to spend a few minutes here listening to this video. Let me kind of bring you current on what is going on out there right now. You basically have 4 options on the table, only 4, so it's not that complicated. A bank may offer you a deed in lieu. There's some good and a bad there. You could do a short sale on your house. Generally speaking, that's the best of all options. You can allow it just to go to foreclosure by doing nothing at all, and that's a possibility for you. Maybe that's what you think is best for you to do, and if so, I can kind of give you a little information about that. Your final option, of course, is to pay the bank. The bank may or may not accept your payment. They have the right within their mortgage document note to do what's called accelerate the note. And that is, if you get a certain amount past due, then they can just call the whole balance due, and you don't have the option of paying them up to date. You'd have to talk to your bank about that. I certainly don't know that. First thing I can tell you about a little bit is foreclosure. In order to get a foreclosure, actually, let me rephrase that. In order to do a foreclosure on your property, your bank has to get a judgment. That judgment is really the key word here. With that judgment, then, of course, they can foreclose. What a judgment is going to do for you, your house is probably going to be sold at auction, as they're no longer listing those with real estate agents. And when I say they, I'm talking about the major banks. There's still some smaller banks that are doing that. With the judgment and the foreclosure, and if it goes to auction, the house is probably going to be sold for less money. Also, going through the foreclosure process, it's going to be quite a bit longer from today until that house is actually sold, whether it's at auction or by listing it. The entire time that passes, you're getting further and further behind by what's called unpaid interest. And just like when you're paying your mortgage payment, you realize, of course, that the biggest portion of that mortgage payment is interest. That unpaid interest is being added to your balance during the foreclosure process. Whatever they sell the home for will be subtracted from your total amount. Your total amount will consist of that unpaid interest, legal cost, any fix-up maintenance or repairs they have to do to the house. That'll also be added to what you owe. So it will be substantial additions to your current mortgage balance at the present time. The end result is they'll sell it for less money. That'll leave you with a bigger unpaid balance. That's commonly referred to as a deficiency balance. The Internal Revenue Service defines any unpaid debt as income, all unpaid debt. I'll get into that in a little bit, but one of the things you should know is that unpaid debt will be reported on a 1099. If you're not familiar with that terminology, it's a lot like a W-2 that you might be getting at work. The 1099 goes to the IRS and a copy comes to you. You will have moved if you left no forwarding address, then you won't get the 1099. That does not forgive you from owing the tax, and your IRS officer that you'll be talking to will be more than happy to explain that to you. But take my word for it, you'll owe income tax on that unpaid balance. Another thing about foreclosure and about a judgment that is not very pleasant is that note and unpaid balance will be under a judgment. Collection agencies are constantly soliciting the bank to buy or have assigned to them debt under judgment. That means they don't have to bear the expense of suing you over the deficiency balance. It's already been done. They have a lot of ways that they can collect money from you if you have a judgment. The good news is, of course, you can bankrupt that, and that, in all probability, is where this will head you to. That collection agency can be pretty brutal in the way they go about collecting money. I'm not real sure of all the process. I've been told by attorneys that they can do a lot of things. They might come out in the middle of the night and pick your car up. take all your money out of your bank account, pose you some problems with your employment. You would really need to talk to an attorney to find out more about that, but there's quite a bit that they can do to you that you don't want to have done if you can avoid it. For those reasons, that's not a very good option for you. One of the other options that you may hear about, if you haven't already heard, is a deed in lieu. What a deed in lieu is the bank's offering to swap you. Let me get my notes up here. It's offering to swap you some consideration if you'll just assign the house to them. That is to say, they'll give you a document, you sign your name to it, and then send them the keys, the house is theirs. They may offer to waive the deficiency balance, meaning you'll owe nothing. That sounds pretty attractive, and it might be. They may offer to substitute the amount you owe with a smaller note that you'll need to sign, and you will owe that note. Whether or not you want to do that, that's up to you, and it is an option and does work in some cases. You need to understand about the deed in lieu that the bank is not going to mention to you is they're forgiving that unpaid debt. That's not the IRS forgiving that unpaid debt. You're still going to owe the difference. How they go about calculating that difference is in question, because once they have that house, again, they can list it for sale. If that's the case, then hopefully they'll get a decent price out of it, leaving you with a smaller unpaid debt. They can send it to auction just like they do foreclosed properties. If they do that, at least there wouldn't be any cost added to that above the unpaid interest, as the legal cost would be sucked up by them. It'd be very minimal, and etc. I don't think they would add any repair maintenance costs. They could, depends on what the deed in lieu says. Bottom line is this: if you're considering a deed in lieu, it's not a really good way out for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's recorded in your credit exactly the same as a foreclosure is. It'll follow you around for a long time. You'll avoid the judgment on you at that point in time, depending on what the deed in lieu says about the balance. You may owe part of it, you may owe none of it. There's some other ramifications in there, I'm certain. My strongest recommendation to you is, if you're considering doing that, do that through an attorney. Let an attorney look at that and decide what's good for you and what's bad, because I assure you it'll be several pages and a little bit complicated, so you probably would want to do that. Your other option, of course, is a short sale. Now, a short sale doesn't normally involve a judgment. The bank will not have sued you at that point and got a judgment, especially if you react to this 20-day summons. When the short sale is completed, it's referred to as a settlement in the credit bureau, and therefore it won't affect your credit nearly as bad as the foreclosure or the deed in lieu. By doing a short sale, you've got a balance owing at the present time. Because the house is going to be listed with a realtor, hopefully us, but if it is or isn't, you should get pretty close to the current market value out of the property. By doing that, you'll have reduced your unpaid balance, and by reducing your unpaid balance, your possible liability with the Internal Revenue Service will be reduced accordingly. In most cases today, the banks want to do a short sale. In fact, they want to do them so badly that in a lot of these cases, they will actually pay you. Those payments usually range in the neighborhood of $3,000. I've done quite a few of them that the bank has paid the debtor. You may also be interested to know that you do not have a realtor fee to pay. The bank pays the realtor, that's us. So your cost is zero. You walk away generally with no judgment at all, because the settlement is, unless you have Space Coast Credit Union, that's a whole different story. But in other banks, you generally walk away with no deficiency balance at all. You get paid for doing the short sale. Credit is not affected as badly. It's really a better way to go for most people. You'll have an opportunity to buy another house here shortly. I've got a couple of people that I did short sales for as little as 2 years ago. they're already own a new home. They have their family living in their own home, and everything's lovely. Back to normal, you might say. I have one guy that did a short sale, paid all his other bills, had no other problems, maintained the same job, and so forth. His credit score prior to doing the short sale was a little bit over 800. He took about a 150 point hit, but right now he's back up to 790, and I did the short sale for him less than 7 months ago. So there is a recovery with that. That's one of the things I would highly recommend you looking at. Now, I know what you're probably the most concerned about, which would be concerning to anybody, is that 800-pound gorilla that's in the room, and that is the income tax. You're going to get a 1099. I don't care what you do if you don't pay off your loan. The Foreclosure Debt Relief Act of 2007 is scheduled to expire on December the 30th, 2013. That's a few months from now. I don't care which of those you take, it will not end before December. So you're going to be beyond the current expiration date of this Foreclosure Debt Relief Act. What that act did, it provided a escape from the income tax for a variety of people that met the qualifications. Generally speaking, if a short sale was done on your personal residence, even a foreclosure on your personal residence, you could file a Form 984 with your tax return for the year that occurred, and you would owe no income tax. That never did apply to second homes or investment properties or other type of land. Only on a personal residence. That's a residence you live in, your current address, and so on and so forth. I don't know if that act would be extended or not. I do know there is absolutely no talk of it being extended right now. It's not even being discussed. That doesn't mean that it couldn't be extended. It certainly could. We're coming into the end of one administration, so I'm not sure what that has to do with it, but I'm sure there's some effect on that. Somebody a higher pay grade than me would have to explain that to you. I know this. The government's broke. They're looking for ways to raise money. Neither party wants to raise the income tax rate because they can brag about keeping taxes low. Allowing this to expire and not renewing it would be an infusion of billions of dollars into the United States Treasury, which is badly needed. There's every reason to think that this act will not be extended beyond the current expiration date. That's something that if you want to know more about, you really should talk to a tax professional, preferably a CPA that understands this. I can tell you this, I have done quite a few short sales, and people were just sweating bullets over this income tax thing. Most of them had their own tax professional, but quite a few did not. I sent all of those to my accountant, and in incident after incident, people always call me up to thank me because they came out of my accountant's office not owing any income tax due to that short sale. That's not the case with a foreclosure. And I don't really know the difference there. There shouldn't be any difference according to the way the code is written, but apparently that has something to do with it. I do know that you can expense out quite a bit of your cost to the home, maintenance and so forth. Again, you'd need advice from a CPA on that. But you have got a way out of that, and it's enhanced by doing a short sale. Other than that, I can't help you very much with it. But it's there. I think your principal concern at this point should be that 20-day service that you've got. I get asked all the time, well, what is an attorney going to do for me, and do I really have to have an attorney, and how much does it cost? Well, basically speaking, I have 4 attorneys that send me their short sale clients. That is, people that they think it's best to do a short sale for, rather than a loan modification or filing bankruptcy or what the other options are. I also send people to them that are in a situation that I think they need an attorney and they might want to talk to one. gives me an opportunity to be able to say the following. The average cost for foreclosure defense is about $2,000. Most attorneys handle that for a period of time for $2,000. It can run from as short as 6 months to, I have one attorney that does cradle to the grave, and that is from the time you hire him until either the house is foreclosed on or sold at short sale. He's with you all the way. Usually, their retainer agreement includes court time on your behalf regarding the foreclosure issue. And that is to say, one of the future motions that will be filed against you, and incidentally there will be future ones, they won't just file one time and give up. Usually the second or third time your attorney will file a additional answer, and in some cases they have to get kind of inventive as to what they're objecting to or what's causing the delay, and etc. Eventually that'll run out. The bank has attorneys too, and the court system gets tired of shuffling papers, so they just go ahead and set a hearing date. And if and when that hearing occurs, if you have an attorney that you've hired, their retainer should include, and most do, all of them that I use do, appearing on your behalf at the whatever the hearing is, and at that point in time he will make a case for any reason that is logical at that point in time for this to be delayed. So my opinion of that is that's some money well spent. I would recommend hiring an attorney. The answer to your second question, no, you don't have to have an attorney. I've done a lot of these without them. If you're just now getting served, we may have time to get the short sale done. Generally speaking, once I get it under contract and we get all of the documentation to your bank, they will stop the foreclosure. They'd much rather do the short sale, as I said earlier. That's not a promise, and I can't guarantee you that. I've never had it go the other way, but I'm sure it can. Yeah, you can do this without hiring an attorney at all, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. If I'm going to kind of let this go for there. I appreciate you taking the time to allow me to enter into your personal life, and I hope I've answered your questions. If you have certain circumstances that are personal only to you, I can't answer without us having a sit-down interview and me being made aware of whatever those questions might be. I can say this much to you, that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I've run into this all the time. For you, this is very embarrassing. Most people feel like a criminal. You are not a criminal. The only thing you've done wrong is buy a house. And unfortunately, the real estate market got ruined not by you, but by the very bank that's trying to foreclose on your property. I don't have any feelings at all for the bank. I do not work for the bank. I work for people like you, and only people like you. About 90% of my business, maybe 80%, is involved in doing short sales. That's a large part of what I do, mainly because I have some background in it and quite a bit of education. I'm running about a 95% success ratio from the people I accept as a listing, getting it sold, getting it closed at the bank. I couldn't tell you if that's the best or the highest in Brevard County. I'm not going to be one of these realtors that say I'm the top producing agent or I'm this or that. I will tell you this, I have a website you can go on. There's lots of testimonials on there from people just like you that we have been successful selling their house, got them out of a jam, they're happy about it. I don't, as far as I know, have anybody unhappy, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So if I look like your guy, I would like to be. I'd be honored to help you if I possibly can, and if I can, I'll certainly tell you about it. Thank you for tuning in to us today. I'll put my details at the end of this video, name and phone number. You probably have my card, hopefully you held onto my card from the letter I sent you. So if you see where we have something more to talk about, I would really appreciate the opportunity to do business with you. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this video has been helpful. Have a pleasant day.